It's been a while since I've had the urge to smoke a blunt. I actually hadn't really thought about it for basically up until last night. So on Monday, I almost died. I crashed my car. I I'd had like 90 minutes of sleep in the 24 hours, and yeah, that was kind of a I don't know. I think that's the first time I've been shaken up from near death experience in the car, and I've had a lot of them. And this was the first time that I'd cried about it. Yeah, like you know, and it was totally avoidable had I just rested and just gone to bed, you know. But I the waves were really good, so I went out to go surf, and then I was in the water for like from 8 until what 1:30, 1:45, and I was going to get lunch, and I didn't play any music because I was just exhausted. My whole front body right now is shredded from the wax on the board, and so I just wanted some silence while I drove to get some food, and then I just slipped, like just fell asleep. And the guardrails on the sides of the road, like I barely missed it. It swiped my right mirror, and my right wheel like got so fucked up, and I just had to spend so much money to get a bunch of shit fixed on the car. And you know, I never, I've been in multiple like really dangerous situations in the car, like some with me driving, some without me driving. And this was the first time that I had gone, God damn, But it was also the first time where I'd been that tired to where like I fell asleep, you know? And that's the thing is like death is always just around, and you don't really think about it because you get used. It's either you're just far removed from it, or you haven't seen enough of it to realize, understand, or remember that it's always just it could be 30 seconds away, you know. Like who I wasn't expecting on my Monday to go surfing and then go and grab food, and I was going to fall asleep while the car was on the road. There were two people that were like far, they were kind of far, on the sidewalk. So thank goodness I didn't hit them. Could have killed myself, could have killed them, you know? And yeah, that evening was kind of tough because, funny enough, I'd been dealing with some minor annoyances of, and I'll give examples just because it just, I'd been dealing with, some people know I make these videos, and when they see me on my computer, they go and look me up on YouTube, and then they make they make assumptions about me, and so then they start looking at me differently. And I was dealing with seeing the change in behavior from people around me towards me because I make these videos, and I know a specific video that is pissing people off when they haven't watched the contents of the video, and they just see the title and they're like, oh, he's one of those guys, fuck this guy, right? So I'm watching the change in behavior in that. I'm also dealing with women actively trying to get me to lust is a crazy thing that can be filled with so much malice, and I was also dealing with that. I'm dealing with people I thought were friendly to me all of a sudden changing their behavior towards me just because of my YouTube channel. And this is why I don't really tell people about my YouTube channel, so that I can create my stuff in peace, and I've just been so annoyed about these little minor inconveniences, the week prior, and just kind of going, well, what the hell? Like, this has nothing to do with these people. You went to go look me up on YouTube, and now you're making these assessments and judgments about me without really even speaking to me. And so that's why I stayed in the water so long. I mean, I was in there, what, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 5.5 hours I was in the water. But it was also because the waves were really good. And so, the water completely just washes all that bullshit away. And I was going to get lunch, and I slipped, into a sweet little, you slip into a little sweet dream, basically, is what happened, and then I wake up and my car's just making a whole bunch of noises because it's on the side of the road and it's still rolling, and my wheels fucked up, and I'm like, oh shit, and then that whole evening I was like, holy shit, I could have just died. Like, I really could have just died, and the whole time I'm like, okay, so what the hell? Like, did I, and it put a lot of things into perspective, because, now I was thinking of all the things that annoyed me, in the couple days before that happened, and I was like, who cares about a girl actively trying to get your attention by putting her ass right in your face at work? Who cares? Why are you hanging on to that? Why are you so annoyed? This has nothing to do with you. It's just her, and whatever she's got going on, and she's trying to put that onto you. And there's malice in it, right? Because I was just chilling at work. I'm just doing my stuff at work, and this girl's putting her ass in my face. But at the same time, it's not really on me. Sometimes a girl just wants your attention, but it's not because she really wants your attention. She just wants to see what she can do to you. And then, even with some of the other people, and seeing, their change in behavior towards me, and it's like, okay, you don't have to let this stick to you, and I just started crying because I was, I'm thinking to myself, why was I so bothered by all these trivial little bullshits that don't matter? I almost just died. Like, legitimately. I've never, and thank goodness there wasn't a car coming in my direction at the time of me going off the road, because that would have made shit even worse, and it immediately made me just start reassessing, even more things about myself, I mean, the moment you think you're doing well, and then you're given another opportunity to reassess everything that you've worked on, and how do you improve on it, because I'm pretty well self-contained every day. I've done really well about just moving through my life. And this was almost like a little hint, to one, maybe I'm not resting as much as I thought I was resting, because I really couldn't believe that I fell asleep that hard. There wasn't any signs of me, like, I wasn't bobbing my head. I wasn't like closing my eyes and opening them. I just was driving in silence because I didn't have music on. So I didn't have anything to keep my brain lively. And then I just woke. When I woke up, my car's on the side of the road and it's still going. My right mirrors just got swiped by the guardrail. I mean, I could have hit that thing head on. And then it made me think, well, if that was my last day, would I have been happy with everything I did in that day? you know? It actually really made me think that. It made me think like would I have been happy with everything I did that day, the activities I did, the way I treated people, you know, the things I said to people, you know, what did I do for myself that day? Staying in the water for as long as I did, even making some friends out on the water. I didn't do any yoga, but I guess maybe the surfing was my yoga for the day, and just being excited for other people as we're catching waves. So that could have been my yoga for the day, and then immediately also made me think of what's important to me, you know, and would I have had any regrets if that was my last day, a couple of days ago? I waited because I was feeling very, very emotional, and I didn't want to make a video off of emotions, you know, because there was a lot of things that were hot in my head that I didn't really feel that I needed to say in that moment. So I waited to be in this mind space to talk. But I definitely think not taking, the life we live for granted. It also made me realize that all this bullshit that I keep worrying about from 30 years from now, 40 years from now, 50 years from now, maybe it certainly was hindering me from deepening my connection with the present moment. I can certainly say that I felt some of that, and going, who gives a fuck about 50 years from now, dude? You wouldn't have possibly even made it to see 75, 76. Who gives a fuck? And half the time that's the only thing really that gets me off my kilter, is always going 30 years from now, 40 years from now. And I'm looking at these, present moments, even though I'm taking it in, but almost taking them as if, yeah, I'm enjoying every moment, but am I really immersed? Am I, immersive in the present the way I should be, rather than just being happy that I'm just in it? There's a difference between being one with the moment and just being happy with the moment, and it's certainly yeah. Yesterday I was gonna make the video because I just went to the beach to just decompress, and then I fell asleep because I think it was the full moon yesterday. I think it's gonna be waning going forward, but yeah, I just went to the beach to just lay down, and I just fell asleep under the moon. And I realized, yeah, I'm actually really, really tired. Like, I'm really, really tired. I wanted to make this video yesterday at the water, but I guess that wasn't the time, because as soon as I did, I did some yoga, and then I just fell straight to sleep, and, the point of this whole video, you know, you know, we all are on a time clock, and it's ticking, you know? It really is. And, I certainly don't like that I just had to spend all this paper on my car. But maybe that's in exchange for perspective. I just spent some money to gain some perspective. Because I really don't see how somebody either, like, spreading lies about me, calling me, gay, calling me, a womanizer, or making all these smug little remarks, all these untruthful things that are said about me, I don't really see why I spent so much time even like giving it energy when it doesn't fucking matter and it's not true. That was also something I thought about, is I was like, who gives a shit if somebody lies about saying that you're gay and you're not? Who gives a fuck? Why do you give a shit, Josh? You're not even around them. Like, straight up, dude. You almost just fucking died after surfing, just thinking you're going to get lunch. That's how you could have gone out. In your fucking car, dude. It wasn't like, you saw something dangerous coming down the line and you saw your death coming. You slipped into a fucking 30-second sleep and now you ended up on the side of the road. And so I say that, you just got to be mindful that, one, place yourself in environments where you feel good. I mean, if you're going to go out, don't go out in an environment where you're shaking from fear, Don't go out in an environment where you spend, you had to allocate mental energy to these negative thoughts. Don't go out like that. God damn. I mean, yeah, maybe that's all it is. Just don't take your life for fucking granted, man. We have it really good in this country. And I can only speak for myself because I know that I've been put in, my life is the advantage. I know that. And so I'm working on remembering that every day, and I know that some people have it bad. I know that, and I don't know what I can do right now. I don't know if there's anything I can do right now to help, but I know that I have been blessed with a good life, and who knows if reincarnation is fucking real, because would that have been my karma per se, that I just go to sleep in my car while driving to get some goddamn lunch and that's how I go out and that's my karma? Or was that just the decision of me choosing to go surfing over going to bed to get some rest? Right? So there's the action, which is I chose to forego going to bed and going surfing, and maybe surfing a lot longer than I needed to and just getting exhausted. Now the reaction is my body is too tired to stay awake without some music, and now I just, little sweet kiss of death, slip into sleep, and now I wake up with fucked up right side of my car. It's really not even that bad, just my swiped mirror and, my tire. So I don't know. But that shit just, yesterday I was like, God damn, I would have loved to smoke a blunt. If I knew I was gonna go out on a Monday, it's like shit. But that's probably the side of me that was just pissed. I was like, to go out without even smoking a bleezy before I went out would have been bullshit. I haven't smoked weed since 2021? Yeah, right before I went to fucking jail was the last time I smoked or some shit. But yeah, don't take your life for granted, man. And hang around people that make you feel good.